This is a proof from Euclid's Elements, Book 1, Proposition 7. Now, this proposition isn't really interesting in and of itself. This proposition is useful because it's a preliminary for Proposition 8 coming up next, which will prove the side-side-side congruence theorem for triangles. Now, what this proposition says is that it is impossible to construct this diagram. In other words, given a point A and a point B, line segment AB, there do not exist two distinct points C and D such that AC and BC are congruent to AD and BD respectively. In other words, this diagram does not exist. It is impossible to make this construction. As we will see, this is actually a proof by contradiction. So we assume that such a diagram does exist. In other words, we have AC equal to AD and BC equal to BD, and C and D are two distinct points. Well then, it turns out that we actually have two isosceles triangles, the first one being ACD. And so these two angles, the base angles, which share a side with CD, are equal. And so we'll draw them and mark them as equal. In addition, we have another isosceles triangle, BCD, and so the two base angles of this triangle, those again that share a side with CD, are also equal. So we'll draw these angles in and also mark them as equal. And now we'll examine some facts about these angles, and we're going to derive a contradiction. Notice that this red angle, ACD, is larger than this green angle of this isosceles triangle. And since Euclid tells us that the whole is greater than a part, this whole angle, ACD, is greater than the angle BCD. However, BCD is a base angle of this green isosceles triangle, and so it's equal to angle BDC. This smaller angle, ADC, is a part of this larger angle, CDB. And so we have the green angle, it's hashed in, is larger than this red angle. But then we have a contradiction by the transitive property. This red angle is larger than this green angle, which in turn is larger than the red angle. So the red angle is larger than itself, which surely is not true. Therefore, our initial assumption that such points C and D exist was false. We have a contradiction. Such a diagram cannot exist.